My name is Nick Shell. You better listen up. I've got two things to say to you. The first thing we're going to talk about is, yes, I did get the new haircut over this weekend. And it's funny because today I wanted to like go extreme, like over the top. I wanted to see if I like combed it and put some hairspray on it as well. Just had that. It's funny because my son, who's 6 and obviously has the hairline of a 6-year-old boy, his hair looks so good. And his hair is exactly cut the same way as mine. Man, it looks good. And then for me, you know, living 29 years in his future, I'm, you know, this is the same haircut and this is how it looks on me. You know, with this haircut, it's funny because even when the girl is cutting it, she's like, so it's kind of like a Mad Men style, right? I said, yeah, and here I am thinking, yeah, but John Hamm, who's clearly, what, at least a decade older than me or whatever it is, has, I would have to say, more hair than me. But, and I think his hair is longer though. And if I were to fix mine, it might look a little bit better. But I am wanting to grow it out a little bit. It's 2 inches now. I want to get it back to the 4 inches, but longer on the sides and the back to see if I can pull off having it longer. Because remember, 2017 is the year for me in which I'm going to be, this is my last hurrah with hair. It's just, what can I really pull off of this hair? Because I am thinking that I'll be shaving it for the rest of my life after that, which I look forward to, but that's not, the time has not yet come for that. So I'm making this video so you can see with it, kind of has more of a definite part, and so wanted to make that video for that. So that's the first thing. And actually, hello. Yeah, I'm a YouTuber, and we're live right now, which is cool because you're welcome to be part of the video if you wish. But what I do is I do do you mind?
No,
okay, cool. I'd like to interview. See, what I do is I do videos on receding hairlines for guys.
Seriously?
Because see, oh sorry, I want to get you in shot. See, the deal is, it's a concern with a lot of guys. They're freaking out like, oh, am I going to lose my hair? Am I going to go bald? When am I going to go bald? But yet, what I tell them all the time is, we make it a bigger deal than it has to be. We're making it. Do you have any comments on that? Because
some girls think it's sexy.
Yeah. See?
I mean, they do.
I haven't lost any hair. It's just migraine.
There you go. And so, you know, I say, if you want to shave your head, shave your head.
Yeah.
You know?
We're just rocking.
Yeah. So that's what, when you see me every day, that's what I'm doing.
That is so funny. We've always wondered, like, what is he walking around, like, holding his phone out there for?
Yeah, I have a lot of followers on YouTube that are going to be watching this. And I just try to look at different perspectives on that.
Yeah.
So,
well, hi.
So yeah, thanks for
Thanks.
And
thanks for answering my question.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just a thing that a lot of guys deal with, and this is an outlet for them to realize. It's like a support group kind of. Yeah. Thanks for asking. All right. So what's funny about that is, don't know who that was. I don't know who that was. There's no telling. Like, but hey, you know, she came and asked, and so now she's on the video. But I mean, I work in the same, you know, acres as her, the business development. So, I mean, I'm not going to like tag that as like a major, I'm not even going to put that in the title, like interview with random girl. She didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. I mean, she just was curious. So, that's just a bonus that we get. Now, we were talking about, I'm specifically combed my hair today, more specifically, more in a Mad Men style today. What I'm not planning on doing is doing my hair like this every day. I'm fully aware that this exposes my hairline much more than how I did in the video yesterday when I just showed you what my haircut looks like. I'm planning to make it much looser on normal days. So that was the first thing. Now that we're 4.5 minutes, I could easily just press stop, but I don't think a title that says parted hair, receding hairline would be interesting enough. So here's built-in part 2. Built-in part 2 is this. Our expectations are too high. Our expectations are too high is really what this video is about. We've obviously mentioned before about how it's inconsistent with Hollywood, who we see on movies and TV shows. Why do they have hair? Well, a lot of them, it's just they have good hair, and it helps them end up on the stage in front of the camera. There's a higher ratio of men who just naturally have better hair, and it's easier to end up on TV. But then the other thing is, we are not aware. Most of us, I was not until we are not aware of how many men we see in front of a camera that's not. They're not just going bald like I am and letting it happen. They're doing something about it proactively. First one off the top of my head, I only recently found about was the guy that played Michael Scott on The Office. What is this? I just went blank on his name. The Italian guy. Whatever his name is, Steve Carell. So, you look at Little Miss Sunshine and you can see how he was losing hair. And then now he's just got perfect hair for a guy who's in his, mid 40s? Or is he closer to 50? I guess he's probably closer to 50 now. We have unrealistic expectations on this. It's funny because for me, it's almost like I think because of what I've been exposed to in my own life, I almost look, when I see a man who's like, oh, like let's say in his 60s and still has has more hair than me, and he's in his 60s, somehow that seems fake to me anyway. Like, just because the men I grew up with were all losing their hair, and no one made it to age 60 with hair. Like, it was, I would look at, because, when I was a kid, Ronald Reagan was president when I was a kid. And I would see that, even as a kid, I thought, wow, he has a whole lot of hair for a guy who's so old. And he was one of the oldest presidents at the time. Now, of course, Donald Trump has set that record. But for me, in my culture, in my existence, if you're an older man and you have a full head of hair, it's unusual. It's almost not as masculine. Like, because in my culture system, in my value system is what I should say. In my value system, I see a man losing his hair, that's a masculine man. But a guy who has a lot of hair, it's just unusual. It doesn't really work. It's weird to me to see a man with a full head of hair and who's older that it just seems unnatural to me. So now, like when I watch movies, I'm picking apart who has probably had some kind of work done on their hair. Like, for example, someone left me a comment asking me about the guy, Chris Evans, is that who plays Captain America? Which obviously I'm a big fan of Captain America. But they were saying, because I mentioned, his hairline's going up. I feel his hairline's maturing. You can say whatever you need to say about that. But, he's a couple years younger than me. He's like 33. And somebody said, well, do you know if his hair is thinning? And my response to that in the comments was something like, I don't know, but if he was, he's probably doing something about it. Just because, and like even the guy that plays, we almost said something else, that plays Thor, what's his name? I don't know their names. But that guy that plays Hemsworth, that plays Thor, like you can tell that. And it's like the guy that plays Superman. It's like, okay, well, if they assume they keep playing these roles for the next decade. Well, if they're like me, they're going to keep having more real estate here of skin instead of hair. And, what are we going to, what are they going to do about that? Are they going to do something or not? I guess we won't know. If they get something done, then they do. And it just, our expectations are not realistic. We're expecting too much when it comes to our own hair. See, now I'm turning it back on us. That's really what I believe. I believe that we just assume all that is real when it's not. We look at the exceptions of the rule, when the fact is most of us are losing our hair or gonna lose our hair. And if you don't, you're the exception of the rule. You're the guy who's 6'3" and has a full head of hair and everything just goes your way. You just won the lottery when it comes to jeans. And then there's a guy like me that's just average, 5'9", and is losing his hair, and that's reality. I am reality. Like that movie that none of us have seen where he's like, I am Spartacus. I've never seen it. I only know the reference from That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks, but I am reality. Like, this is what a guy looks like in reality that's not in movies and stuff. I am an embodiment of reality. So if you're older than me and have more hair, you you got lucky, and I'm happy for you. And if you're younger than me and freaking out about, are you going to look like me when you're 35? Hope that you can, because hope that you're don't have less hair. And if you do, then you have to go through things at an earlier age than I do. You'll have to go through this process at a younger age, which, hey, maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe you can mature in that way quicker than I did and not have to carry that burden in the back of my mind for, a decade. But again, I've been aware of this since I was a kid. I knew it was coming. I'm just amazed I've got this much. But yes, collectively, our expectations on hair are too high. We should remember that most men lose their hair. Most men do. Not all, but the majority do. So whenever you see on TV, just assume that's not real. It's funny because, like, this is the last thing I'm going. I had this thing where, like, you can name the movie or the sitcom, and I can tell you who the Jewish actor is, because there's one on it. It's almost, there's a few exceptions, but pretty much there's always a Jewish actor. And I think that's so cool, because Jews are only like 2.5% of the American population, yet there's so many in media. It's getting to the point now where you can name a movie or a sitcom, and I can tell you the actor, the male actor who had something done on his hair. Like, I realize how common it is now, because it's not real. Men lose their hair, so when you see that on TV, it's not real. We have expectations that are not real. So this is your daily reminder of that. What a video. Imagine all the things that happened in this 12 minutes I couldn't have expected. We covered a lot of grounds, but this is what I'm here for. And by the way, if you got suggestions for videos, especially if they're not about hair, send them in the comments. You never know when I might make a video that might help someone else. People say, will you do stuff that's not about hair? Yeah, if you'll give me ideas that you think that'll be more popular than a hair video. Because if I talk about hair loss, people will watch it, hands down. If I do something else, it's always a risk. But hey, I'm all for taking risks because I'm victorious. People who are victorious take risks and are open-minded. I'm Nick Shell, and this is 12.5 minutes of your life you'll never get back.